Hey folks, welcome back, or of course, welcome to Lone Pine Tarot if this is your first visit here, but either way, thank you so much for joining me for our pick a card reading today, and today's topic is a good old-fashioned month ahead forecast specifically for November 2025, so if you want a glimpse into the month ahead, this is the perfect reading for you. Now we're picking with 3 different tarot decks today. Over here on the left for pile number 1, your deck is Tarot Landscapes. And here is your 4 of Wands from that deck. For pile number 2 here in the middle, your deck today is Tarot for the Great Outdoors. And here is your 4 of Wands for your pile, or in this particular deck, it's called the 4 of Sticks. And last but not least, for a wonderful pile number 3 on the right, you are choosing with the Ethereal Visions Tarot. And of course, just like the other decks, we have the 4 of Wands from your deck as well. So quick refresher, pile 1, Tarot Landscapes, pile 2, Tarot for the Great Outdoors, pile 3, Ethereal Visions Tarot. As I always say, you're 100% welcome to pause right now if you need more time to decide what pile calls to you most. But when you are ready, after you've meditated on a bit, or maybe picked by number, asked your spirit guides, whatever's your preferred method, right? You can drop down into the description box below, find the timestamp for your pile, and I will see you in our chat about your forecast for November 2025. See you in your reading. Hello there, my beautiful pile number 1. Welcome to your November 2025 forecast for the month ahead. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to Tarot Landscapes as your deck of choice today. Now, as I always say when we choose with tarot decks, I'm going to put this right back into said deck so it's available for the message. And in a little bit of a change of pace today, I decided to do some geomancy. I've done geomancy before on my channel. Been a while though, and I thought why not get back into it. So let's first draw your tarot spread, pile number 1. And then I will also show you the geomancy sigil that you received that I drew beforehand, which, spoiler alert, you got a pretty good one. So first up though, tarot spread. So Spirit, for our wonderful pile number 1 today, for their highest best good, can you give us more of a glimpse into the November 2025? What does the forecast look like for them? Thank you. Okay, we've got the 9 of Pentacles. Great, fantastic first card to come out. We have, looks like a bird kind of just on the other side of a garden with an archway. Very beautiful. Okay, we'll put this one over here. And then as for the rest of your cards, pile 1, there we go. And let's unveil the other. So 9 of Pentacles, and then we have, awesome, another really great card, pile 1. Everything's looking pretty good so far. We have the sun, his little bunny ears sticking out of a sunflower field. Beautiful. Card number 3, towards the middle of the month, 8 of Wands, also fantastic. Everything's looking pretty good. Now hold your horses. Okay, 6, I was going to say 6 of Pentacles, blah. King of Pentacles, also fantastic, especially upright. Look at that, pile 1. Lots of good things coming. And then last but not least, for your last card, drum roll, please. Cross your fingers for a good one. We have, awesome, the 6 of Cups. And how fitting for the time of year. It's a little pumpkin patch. Very cute. Wow. Okay, and then that also, pile 1, combined with the geomancy sigil that I drew for you, which, if you're not familiar with geomancy, it's kind of like these different figures where you draw a certain amount of dots, and then whether or not it's odd or even, it decides like how many dots are placed in the full sigil. And this particular one you got was called Letitia, which is a symbol that represents joy and success and upward momentum, specifically because, as you can see here, it almost looks like an archway or a rainbow. So it's especially a really good sign for things regarding like quick successes, which we do see that with the 8 of Wands there. The 8 of Wands is a card that represents like fast momentum, and that is just reflected once again with the symbol that you got with, like I said, it's called Letitia. Joy, success, and upward momentum. Yeah, really good month coming ahead for you, pile number 1. I am super excited to tell you that. Hopefully that brings a smile to your face. Let's break down into the nitty gritty. I'll talk about your tarot spread as I draw one of your oracle cards too. So first off the bat, we have the Nine of Pentacles. And for those of you who have viewed my readings before, you know the Nine of Pentacles is a card I like to explain with the metaphor of a gumball machine. You put a quarter in, you get a gumball out. And especially with Nine of Pentacles upright, pile 1, that means that, like if it had come out reversed, let's say, then it would be a situation where, you put the quarter in and you're not getting the fruits of your labor out of it. You're not getting that gumball. Upright, though, I see a lot of successes coming for you in November because of its position. So projects that you have been working on that have required a lot of hard work, especially because Nine of Pentacles comes after the energy of the being hard at work, energy of the Eight of Pentacles, right? Things coming to fruition, projects coming to fruition that will do very well, especially things that have been going on for a long time that you've had to be really nose to the grindstone with, as I would like to, the phrase I like to use, as I say. Especially, too, beautifully, you have the sun right after that, pile 1. And the sun is a card of truth. It's a card of joy. It's a card of happiness. It's very similar to your Letitia that you got with your Geomancy Sigil for today. And then we have, beautiful, trust. That is the oracle card I wanted to draw as well. But continuing to talk about your tarot spread. And we have, so the sun, beautiful, happiness, and truth. We have Eight of Wands, which is quick, fast momentum, just like Letitia talks about upward momentum. King of Pentacles is a fantastic outcome in terms of career and finances, especially actions and outward activity around your career and your finances, because it is the masculine energy mastery of the earth suit, which, like, for example, if you're looking for a promotion, great month for that. If you're looking to find a job, great month for that. If you're looking for a project at work to go well, fantastic month for that as well. And then last but not least, we have the Six of Cups, which is interesting, a bit of a twist here, but in a good way. Six of Cups represents nostalgia or things regarding like our childhood, our blood or birth family. It also is a card of the past in a positive way. Okay, so looking at all of this more so in a timeline too, if you're asking when will these good things come about, especially towards the beginning of the month with the Nine of Pentacles, so right about maybe the first week of November, maybe right here in the end of October bleeding into that, that is where you'll see a lot of good things come to fruition that you've been working hard on. So expect that about that period of time. And then interestingly, we have the sun, as I said, which is a card of joy and happiness. Could be, that feeling you might get sort of after that Nine of Pentacles of, I did it, I got the gumball, the machine that I've been putting all this effort or these quarters into, so to speak, making you quite happy and sunshiny that week first into maybe the second week or so. But it's also a card of truth, pile number 1, because it's a card of light. So too, if you've been looking for more information on things or something has been kind of obscured to you recently that you're hoping for some light to be shed upon it, that's a really good sign to get the sun there as well. And that will happen probably about the first into the second week of November, all right? Which totally reflects very well the Letitia that you got in your Geomancy. Just lots of happy things coming. Also, too, the Letitia talks about, as I said, upward momentum, and then the Eight of Wands as your central card, so towards the middle of the month, speaks of fast progression, things going not only quickly forward, but quickly upward. So forward and upward momentum, things getting better, things maybe even stemming from the early successes you have in the beginning of the month help propel that forward momentum almost exponentially. Like if you were to look at an exponential graph, pile number 1, like the beginning of November is kind of like, this thing's growing great, and then because of all this that's going on in the beginning, then you start seeing that exponential momentum here with the Eight of Wands, which propels you into even greater success here with the King of Pentacles, because as I said before, that's the card of the mastery of the external regarding career and finances with those examples that I mentioned before. Once again, very beautiful. It just keeps building on itself. And then we have a little bit of a quieter end of November with that Six of Cups. But as I said, Six of Cups is actually positive when it's upright. I don't know, it depends on when your family celebrates the holidays or when your culture celebrates certain holidays. Here in America, we do have like Thanksgiving in November often, or I think 100% of the time. I know I've heard other countries celebrate it differently, or they don't even have Thanksgiving, but whatever holidays are coming up for you, that could mean that there's like a success with those social situations or like those family-oriented situations towards the end of the month, or if you're worried about maybe towards the end of the month some sort of like family social situation going well, that Six of Cups is a really good sign that it will go well, pile number 1. So be rest assured about that is a positive thing coming, okay? Or, even if it's not holiday related, like, say you're not in America, you don't celebrate Thanksgiving or whatever, it could also just be like social events that you have with family or especially siblings. Six of Cups is also a very strong card regarding siblings. So maybe you're going out to lunch with a sibling of yours, or even if it's not someone who's like a blood sibling, it could be someone that is a close friend from childhood that you're pretty much like a brother or a sister with, right? That kind of feeling, that nostalgia, that positive happiness. You might even be doing something that is, I want to say, old-fashioned towards the end of the month. I don't know if maybe you're taking a class to learn an old-fashioned skill or something along those lines. If so, that's going to go really well, pile 1. So just to summarize everything so far, fantastic November. If I didn't already repeat that enough earlier, but you got Letitia with joy, success, upward momentum, all these happy things. And then we also have the theme of trust here from your Sacred Destiny Oracle that you received today. And the theme of trust, I think, is the energy that's kind of bleeding from October into November is what I'm intuitively sensing. So what I'm hearing from Spirit is that a lot of your life recently has been born on a lot of trust in Spirit. Maybe things have been kind of on a downward trend for a while. Maybe things have been looking a little bleak. Insert kind of how you're feeling here, especially if it's been like October, maybe even back to September or even longer before that. Maybe it's kind of felt not so great, okay? So you've had to have trust in Spirit, have faith in Spirit that things are going to get better. Things are going to be better. Maybe you've even watched other tarot readings, whether they're on my channel or not, or done tarot readings yourself that have been like, something good is coming, just hold out, it's going to be okay. That I'm telling you, pile number 1, November is, I think, that final crest over the valley that you've been in, or the dark night of the soul is another term I like to use. Now you're getting back to, okay, we're on an upward trend, just like that exponential graph I mentioned, going up, back into better things. So absolutely beautiful month, pile number 1. Also, just to summarize, great for career and finances because of those 2 upright Pentacles cards, and both very positive Pentacles cards, needless to say. Great month in terms of truth and light shining, and progression too, with that 8 of Wands energy, and a great month as well when it comes to your family or things that are related to the past, especially towards the end of the month there with that 6 of Cups. All right, let's look at your last 2 oracle cards. Spirit, anything else you want to say to pile 1 about their November 2025? Let's grab the Earthly Souls and Spirits Moon Oracle. I love using this deck this time of year because, I don't know, it always feels like it has an autumnal vibe. A lot of the cards are autumnal. And you received today, pile 1, Goddess. So that might be a little bit of a reflection of that end of November energy with nostalgia. I know this technically speaks of like a feminine goddess energy here, especially with the moon cycle at the top. And it's, 3 different feminine figures getting along and they're sharing things with each other. So I almost wonder if that is related to like that social event. I don't know if it's specifically like a sister that you're meeting with here at the end of the month, or you will set that up eventually at some point here throughout the month of November. It's also just a really good time for things to come to fruition, which we are, of course, already saw that there, because Goddess is strong feminine energy, pile number 1. It's strong energy when it comes to creation. It's strong energy when it comes to receptivity. It's strong energy when it comes to, of course, like nurturing things, which you have been doing so far. That's why you get that gumball out of the machine, so to speak, with the 9 of Pentacles at the very beginning of the month. But I do see maybe some more social things coming to fruition here at the end of the month. So wonderful. And group gatherings would be also a great idea. So if you are hesitating in November, maybe you've been a little bit more isolated, maybe a little more not antisocial necessarily, but you're like, I'm not so gung-ho about, going out and being with people. This might be a little bit of a piece of advice to encourage you to go out more towards the end of the month of November where possible, especially when it comes to groups of full of feminine energy. Okay, especially with that goddess energy. And also to focus on creating this month as well. Lean into that goddess energy more. I don't care what your gender is. We all have feminine and masculine energy, pile 1. November is a month of feminine energy for you to lean into that. Okay, because look at all the success that it brings you. And it's also just a month of receptivity. It's not a lot of, hard work. I mean, not that you aren't going to be working hard, but it's a lot of that feminine energy, as I said, of receptivity of, okay, now I'm finally receiving things after I already put in the masculine energy of the doing. Now it's the receiving. Beautiful. Okay. And then last but not least, we have the Lantern Oracle. Now, this might be kind of an advice card. This tends to be a really good oracle deck for advice or maybe things just to kind of watch out for. So it's good parting advice for November. Let's check. Spirit, what else do you want to tell them with the Lantern Oracle? Okay. That one sounds good to me. Thank you, Spirit. We have, number 1, Spirit Self. We have a figure holding a golden apple, and her quote says, "Be who you are as you are." Okay. This might relate once again to the social situations that might pop up, pile 1. When you're in groups in the month of November, I don't know if you tend to hesitate to share a lot about yourself or if you tend to hesitate to show who you are more, because this card is a piece of advice or a message of leaning into authenticity more. As the quote says, be who you are as you are. Okay, and that in the social group context means don't be afraid to speak your opinions. I mean, obviously, politely and, with class. I mean, that pile number 1. We all know what decorum is, but there's something that's going to come out of being open about who you are with these groups of people, especially feminine groups, as we discussed with the Goddess card, and family groups too with the 6 of Cups, that is going to benefit you. Okay. And on top of that, even in things that are not related to social groups this month, I think intuitively I'm hearing that this even extends into those work-related things that are coming to fruition. I think part of the reason why you're earning this success is because you have been radiating out into the universe. This is who I am, and I am unashamed of that. Or to even garner more success, like that Letitia we talked about, joy, success, upward momentum, etc. Lean into that more of, here is who I am unashamedly. Okay, so it's also a really good month to remind yourself, even if you have to say it in a mantra in the mirror in the morning, I am confident because I accomplished this today, or I like this thing about myself, or, insert kind of, self-pep talk here. It sounds corny, and I'm with you, pile number 1, where, sometimes I think about mantras, I'm saying things to myself, and I don't know, it's just my own stoicism, I guess. I'm just kind of oh, that's corny, but it does help, legitimately. Just to even say to yourself at the end of the day, every single day, what is one thing that I'm proud of that I did today? For myself, or that I accomplished, okay? Just remind yourself that. In what ways, too, another question to ask yourself right before you go to sleep at night, or right when you wake up in the morning, what have you, your choice, is how was I authentic today? Or if in the morning, how can I be more authentic today? That is another guiding mantra or question to ask yourself for the month of November 2025. So, beautiful pile number 1. Look at that. Don't see too much about relationships. You didn't have any cups other than, the 6 of Cups, right? We talked about that social group thing, so I won't repeat that part. You can always rewind back to that if you want a reminder. But then, yes, lots about career with the Pentacles, a little bit about ambition with the Wands being the fire suit, just forward momentum, upward fast momentum with the ambitions you have, and then, no swords. And, swords in tarot, I know they kind of get a bad rep, pile number 1. They tend to represent challenges, but, I mean, maybe it's because I'm an air sign. I'm very biased. I'm I love the swords, Gemini energy, right? I like air, so they do sometimes tend to represent challenges, but you don't have any swords this month, pile number 1. So I do see just kind of smooth momentum too. It's not just onward and upward and forward. it's smoothing, especially if things have been kind of bumpy before this point. Okay. So not too much of a month that's going to require a lot of you thinking hard or lots of logical challenges. Like I said, there's not really a lot of air energy here. It's more just things going smoothly, things going forward, lots of success in terms of especially earth energy. Earth energy is also your major element for the month of November. Beautiful. Success in the material realm. So that is your short forecast for November 2025, pile number 1. I'm so happy to be able to deliver this happy message to you, especially when I was doing the geomancy before I recorded. I was like, oh man, I'm so happy we got one of the best sigils in geomancy. And that was just, it seems like a little bit of a glimpse into everything else that's going on that looks pretty positive. So, of course, most of all, I hope that the reading helped you. That's my number one priority with my readings. Also, that you liked it and it resonated, of course. If so, here's my little YouTube spiel. Forgive me. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And as I always say in our tradition, wishing you a wonderful rest of your day, pile 1, and a wonderful November, of course, too. It looks like it will be. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 1. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 2. Welcome today to your Pick a Card reading, November 2025 forecast. And as you recall, you were drawn to Tarot for the Great Outdoors as your deck. Very, very beautiful deck. Great choice. And as we always do, when we choose with tarot decks, I like to put the leader right back into it so it's available for the message if need be. So to begin your forecast reading, we're going to do a tarot spread, pile 2. We're also going to lean into one of the oracle decks, and I decided to do some geomancy today. So geomancy, if you're not familiar, is a kind of divination system where it works off of like different sigils. You'll see what I mean when I pull out your geomancy card for today. Haven't done it in a hot minute, but I don't know. Today I just felt kind of drawn to it, so I was like, why not? So Spirit, let's talk to pile 2 about their November 2025. What would you like to tell them timeline-wise? How is it going to go? What do you want them to know? Things to look out for? Successes and blessings too, of course. Okay, so we're going to draw from here. Just love this deck, pile number 2. As I said, great taste. So let's unveil your pile, I was going to say your pile leader, your tarot spread. We have beautiful, the King of Stones or Pentacles as it's known in most decks. So we already have a little bit of a nudge of career and perhaps financial success, especially towards the beginning of the month since it is the first card that came out. We have wonderful, the Star with Joshua Tree National Park. Very beautiful, Big Dipper, Little Dipper here. So hope and faith and dreams. Lots of starry imagery too. Wonder if some of you are going stargazing soon. We also have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Okay, could be a little bit of a piece of advice, especially towards the central middle part of November. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Then we have the Knight of Swords or Blades. Okay. We have a man throwing dynamite, it almost looks like, into the snow. Something with action and air, some air energy. And then last but not least, we have another swords card or blades with the Two of Swords reversed at the very end of the month. Okay, so I will tell you this, pile number 2. Actually, let's look at your geomancy sigil too, because that does tie into the message. So drum roll, please. Very happy to report you received, like pile 1 today, the sigil of Letitia with geomancy. And that sigil represents joy and success and upward momentum. You can kind of see here at the very end, it almost looks like an archway or like a rainbow. That's because, well, literally that's what it represents with the sigil and how it's depicted. So I do see good things. It does look like a pretty good month to me. You do have some pieces of advice with especially the Ten of Pentacles reversed and the Two of Swords reversed at the very end. But especially towards the beginning of the month, pile 2. I mean, King of Pentacles next to the Star. Especially I love this particular depiction of the King of Pentacles because it shows someone having climbed a hill and now he can finally see the sky, and this almost looks like a sunset, right? With shooting stars. And then right afterwards, how fittingly, we have the Star kind of right after that. So I think pile 2, you are going to find some sort of success with career or finances or some sort of earthly goal at the beginning of the month, because Pentacles is the Earth suit in tarot, which represents those different areas we just discussed: career, finances, your job. Sometimes it can also represent success with the home or with health too. Everything that's regarding our body or like our capability regarding like money and business. Okay, so right off the bat, we have something happy happening there that could represent, especially in combination with Letitia, right? Some sort of project going very well at work in the very first week of November. It could also represent like a promotion. If you're on a job search, I would say that's a pretty good sign as well. Okay. And especially too, where masculine energy meets the element of earth, because it is a king of pentacles. So actions you take, outward manifestations. It's not so much internal energy, it's about the earth around you. Okay, so outward successes, as I said, promotions, jobs, etc., things like that. And right after that, we have the star. So that's leading into like the first to the second week or so, pile 2. So you climb this mountain, climb every mountain, find every, I can't remember the lyrics, something it'll climb every mountain. I think it's from The Sound of Music. Correct me down in the comments below if I'm incorrect, but climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow until you find your dream, which is very fitting for the star, because the star is about our dreams and our hopes and our faith in things. So I think that success in the beginning propels you into kind of a dreamy sort of second week in November. It's this outward manifestation of, okay, things are going great. And then, of course, that has that ripple effect of, okay, well, now I feel more confident in my future. What are my dreams? What do I really want? Okay, so I do see the second week of being very, not so much outward oriented like the first week was, but something more about redefining, well, what does it mean to me in terms of like, what is my passion or what is my dream? What is my hope or my faith in things? And too, the star can represent a reinvigoration of hope or faith in things too, especially if maybe things have been rocky for a while. Excuse the pun with the King of Stones, right? Climbing a mountain, right? Rocky. Things have been rocky for a while, maybe in October, even all the way back to September, maybe even August, etc. However far back it's been, pile 2. Maybe things haven't been going so well. So this happens in the first week with that King of Pentacles, and then you have that reinvigorated hope and faith in things. Okay, life isn't always going to go this way. I'm now on an upward momentum trajectory with the star. Beautiful. So lean into that as much as you can in that second week. Take advantage of that renewed hope and faith, because that can often be the fuel that guides us towards, as we talked about, redefining our dreams, or even more clearly defining our dreams too. Maybe you even had a dream regarding career or business recently, and it's not until like this month that you're given that room to breathe in that space to think, okay, now that I have the outward things dealt with the money and career, I can focus more on those internal things of what do I hope for. Okay. Then towards the middle of the month, pile 2, we have the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Now, upright, that is often about legacy. Reversed, it's about either like negative feelings regarding legacy, or needing to lean into needing, I can't talk today. Okay, one second, Lone Pine. Needing to lean into legacy more. There you go, I got the word out. Speaking too fast. So, as a piece of advice, pile 2, towards the middle of the month, think about ways that legacy defines your life, especially when it comes to career and finances. It could be an invitation to, I'm sorry I'm pausing for a second. I'm trying to kind of get an intuitive message here, because this could be so many different things. Oh, they're saying, pile 2, it's a lot about like the legacy that you're building up or like leaving behind in the work that you do. So, for example, maybe some of you are like retiring here in the month of November, in which case, congratulations. Welcome to your retirement, pile number 2. You've earned it, I'm sure. So in that way, it could be like there's a lot of work to be done, and like in that case, it would be like them asking you to focus even more on making sure that the retirement is like smooth, especially for you, but also like kind of what you're leaving behind for the people still at that workplace, just as an example. Or even if it's not retirement, like maybe you're leaving to a new job, still there's like a lot of like transitional things that need to be done where you know, sometimes you teach the people at the job that you're leaving, here's how to do the things that I knew how to do, or maybe you're teaching a replacement, etc. Whatever your situation might be. Legacy might also refer to a situation where like you're kind of, even if you're not making a transition necessarily in the middle of the month, pile 2, it could be a nudge towards making sure that you think about the long-term effects on your reputation, the actions you take in the middle of the month due to how you're perceived in your career and your finances. Okay, so consider long-term thinking instead of short-term thinking. That's another really good way to summarize that advice. Okay, and then next up for the third into fourth week or so, we have the Knight of Swords. That is the card of taking action, because knights are the go-getters. Knights are, I've got my information, now I can go full speed ahead. And especially the Knight of Swords, pile number 2, he's the fastest knight in the entire, well, court suit in tarot. So what that means is I do see maybe things kind of going a bit faster towards the third week in the month. Especially when it comes to like ideas or finding out information or communication too, because this is the sword suit, and swords in tarot is air, as I always explain if you watch my videos before, which is related to all those wonderful things. As I said, communication, truth, logic, intelligence, those types of areas. Okay, so that might mean that you're taking an action towards the third week, towards, you know, finally communicating something big. Like maybe that's kind of what you've been thinking about earlier in the month. You know, you had the success, here's this hope or this dream, you're thinking about how it impacts the legacy of what you're leaving behind, or long-term thinking, and then you're like, okay, now I can speak about it. Or if you're maybe asking the universe, when should I speak about something that I've been kind of wary about, like the timing of when I should announce something. Third week of November would be your answer in that case, pile number 2, okay? And then last but not least, we have the Two of Swords reversed. Another maybe little bit of advice for the end of the month. This is like the fourth week. And basically what that means, pile 2, is Two of Swords tends to represent, especially reversed, a time when we're struggling making a decision. Okay? Typically, it's kind of that idea of being really stuck between what way do I go? Should I stay or should I go? Should I go with path A or should I go with path B? I'm going to draw maybe one clarifier on that, pile number 2, because I want to ask what their advice is for that when you come to that crossroads. That's another really good keyword for the Two of Swords reversed. Crossroads at the end of the month. Let's also draw your oracle card here too. I meant to draw this earlier, but I got so invested in everything going on with the tarot spread. Okay. This one right here is calling your name. We have patience. Yes, so remember that long-term thinking I was telling you about with the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Long-term thinking is your friend in November, pile number 2. Also, that might be part of their advice with that crossroads decision in the fourth week. Choose the path that is better for the long term rather than the short term. I didn't mention this before, but that's actually kind of also a message of Letitia, because Letitia, with what it represents in geomancy, is yes, there is great joy, there's great success, upward momentum, but because it's technically representing or like an archway or like a rainbow sort of, because it has that arched, as you can see here, the arched depiction, it tends to represent, you know, like more short-term successes, more short-term joys. It's not as good for long-term successes. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, to say like, oh, you're going to have a long-term thing that doesn't go well. It's not that kind of interpretation, but that does lean into a lot of the messaging we're seeing here when it comes to long-term thinking. Okay, so you will have short-term successes here in this month, but if you really want to stick the landing, if you really want to nail things, especially towards the end of the month, pile 2, choose paths that represent legacy and long-term thinking and long-term success that require patience. Even if it's not quite as immediately gratifying, it's not instant gratification, it's better for you in the end to choose those longer paths. And I will draw that clarifier as I promised for the Two of Swords. Spirit, anything else you want to tell them about the Two of Swords reversed? Oh my, okay. That's quite a lot of cards. I'll try to fit them as much as I can here. We have the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, yep. Success after lots of hard work. The Five of Wands reversed, avoiding conflicts, avoiding wildfires. Specifically, look at that. Biking through a wildfire after it's done. And then we have the Ten of Wands reversed, releasing burdens. Okay, so the decision is something to do with releasing burdens regarding something where both conflict and long-term success after hard work meet, okay? I think you might be drawn between a choice that you think will lead to reducing the burden of conflict with other people, but then the other choice is maybe you'd think it leads to more conflict, but it also promises more success in the end, especially after long-term hard work. That's kind of reflecting what I already said, pile 2. Choose the path you're being advised to. You always have free will. But if Spirit were to have a say, they say, choose the long-term success path. Choose the Nine of Pentacles energy, okay? Even if it's not instant gratification, pick long-term success. Don't choose based on what will cause the least conflict. Choose based on what will see me the most results over a longer period of time. That's your hint as to what that crossroads is. Okay, we'll put that right there, and then let's draw your last 2 oracle cards. Any last advice you have for pile 2 this month, Spirit? Or anything else you want to give them a heads up about? Oh boy. There goes your geomancy sigil from the air from drawing and shuffling. But yes, good things overall though, pile 2. Just a little few stipulations here of like, oh, watch out for these little bumps. Okay, I'm feeling drawn to this card. We have, create. Also a great month for creating. We do have, it reflects kind of that star energy I saw in the very beginning towards the second week or so. Great month for creative endeavors. Great month for creating dreams. So especially if you've been dreaming a lot with that star energy in the very beginning of the month, pile 2, towards the end, keep working on that in terms of turning it into something tangible rather than just a dream that's sitting nebulous in your head. Okay. Create, create, create. Lean into your creations. Also, if you are a creative person, pile 2, this is going to be a great month for that. I do see that too. So if you're like a painter, seems to be like a lot of inspiration will come through, especially that second week. Look at that star, you know. Also to, writing as well. It is, well, I don't know. I don't think they do NaNoWriMo anymore. I think there was some, I won't get into it. I think there's some conflict with NaNoWriMo and that doesn't exist anymore. But I think I've seen alternatives out there. Basically what that was, pile 2, is people would, I think they had a goal of writing 50,000 words in a month. I think that's what it was. And that was always November. Hence, National Novel Writing Month is November. So maybe you're deciding to still do that, just the goal, if not participating in the organization, right? In which case, pile 2, great month for that. And any other successes in creativity too, like music too. Just a font of lots of creativity. And then we have 24, emptied. The ending and beginning lie at either side of the same door. So it's also a month, pile 2, of things coming to an end and to a great conclusion, and then also starting anew again. We have that creation energy on the other side of the door here. Because I kind of see that doorway here in the very beginning of, great mountain of success. I climbed really hard. It's been rocky, made it well. Things are doing great. Fantastic. And then the door closes, and then here's this new dream opening up from the second week on. Okay. A dream about long-term success and legacy, a dream about taking action with the way that you speak truthfully, and what you've been thinking, your ideas too, with that Knight of Swords. And then, of course, like I said, we have that Two of Swords here. New doors opening in terms of the path that you choose at the very end of the month. Okay. So yes, choose new beginnings. Make sure too, of course, really, I wish I had a better term for saying this, but or a better phrase. What I'm hearing from Spirit is choose to squeeze all the juice that you can out of the first path, right? Make sure you get what you're worth out of that first path, right? But don't be afraid to find a new fruit to squeeze. That's a really weird metaphor. I don't know. Maybe some of you will resonate with that. I don't know why Spirit was just like, oh, like squeezing a fruit in order to get the most juice. Maybe even some of you are juicing a fruit right now, or like an orange or a lemon as you're watching this. I don't know. In which case, I hope your baking or your cooking goes well while you're watching this. So yes, don't be afraid to choose to close doors and open new ones. That might be part of your aversion to at the end here of the month of like not wanting to make a choice quite yet, or maybe that's that fear of conflict because you're like, well, I fear like if I close that door, it'll create conflict. But Spirit is like, don't worry about that, pile number 2, because there's so many great things coming for you on the other side of that door that you open anew. Okay, so choose new paths. Choose creating new things. I mean, you even have kind of a creation message here. Almost kind of looks like, especially with like, a seed kind of towards, well, I guess technically her uterus. That's really what it is or where it is. Which of course we associate the uterus with creation, right? Holding children. And it's like emptied, like, okay, so now she's given birth to something and she's taking that rest, and now she's dreaming of, okay, what's this new thing I can create, that feminine energy of nurturing and creation energy. Okay, so lean into that too. Lots of really good feminine energy here towards the end of the month, and like, great masculine energy with that King of Pentacles at the very beginning. So a very balanced month too in terms of masculine versus feminine energy. So patience is your friend, pile number 2. Keep dreaming. Look for success towards the beginning of the month. Lots of joy and upward momentum, especially, like I said, with short-term goals that lead into your enthusiasm for working on longer-term goals towards the end of the month. Okay, and don't hesitate to make that choice towards, as I said, a new path. Don't worry about the conflict of whatever you choose. Focus on the long-term and legacy. Okay. Beautiful. Oops, sorry about that. I always have a timer with my readings, so like I don't go over like a certain amount of time. And I realized I was rambling too long. So that's what that sound was. Okay, I was just about to end it though. So kind of perfect timing there. All right, so pile number 2, I hope that reading was helpful for you. I hope most of all that you liked it and it resonated. If so, please like the video, please comment down below, please subscribe, the whole YouTube spiel. Thank you so much too if you decide to do any one of those 3 things, if not all 3. And as is our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 2. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 3. Welcome to your forecast for November 2025, and as you recall, you were drawn to the very beautiful Ethereal Visions Tarot as your deck. Now, when we choose with decks, I always put the pile leader right back into it so it's available for the message. And to start your reading today, we're going to draw your tarot spread as is usual. And on top of that, I have some geomancy for us today. Been a hot minute since I've done geomancy. If you're not familiar with it, I of course will explain as I bring out the sigil that I drew pre-recording for you. So let's shuffle your tarot cards to begin. Calling on Spirit for your highest best good, pile 3. Please tell us more about their November 2025, the forecast from beginning to end, as well as things to look out for, blessings to look forward to, etc. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, this one for sure says pick me because it was just sticking out. And then let's draw the cutaway here for the rest. Beautiful. And let's unveil those cards, pile 3. So to begin, drum roll please, we have the High Priestess. What an interesting first card to get for the first week of November. That card is all about mysteries and intuition, listening to our own guiding light within. Okay. Then we have another major arcana. We have Strength. Ooh, seems to be kind of a pivotal month. I do see, well, of course, see your other cards, pile 3, but when I do see a lot of major arcana in a reading, I tend to interpret that as a message from Spirit about pivotal things occurring during the time span that we're reading for. So we'll see. Another major arcana. Okay, we've got the Hermit reverse. Definitely a pivotal month for you, November. Okay, lots of big things happening. Nothing bad so far, pile number 3. So when I say big things, don't immediately be like, uh-oh, what's going on? These are positive cards so far. Then we have, okay, our first minor arcana, the Page of Wands reversed. Maybe a little piece of advice. We'll talk about that. And then, cross your fingers for a good card, we have, another page, but the Page of Swords reversed. Okay, also most likely, just kind of some advice, especially towards the end of the month. There might be, I don't want to say necessarily troubles, pile number 3, but Spirit is encouraging you with some advice towards the end here, because these 2 cards at the end represent maybe the 3rd into the 4th week of November. So we'll talk about that in a second. I do want to reveal your Geomancy Sigil. So, as I said, I drew these before the reading. And if you're not familiar with geomancy, basically it's you draw out, there's different ways you can do it. I tend to draw out dots on a piece of paper, and then you count whether or not the amount of dots that you drew is odd or even. You got completely even dots, pile number 3. And that means you got the Geomancy Sigil of populous, to use the Latin term. And what that represents, it kind of makes me think of a river, because it is the 2 different dots on each side. It looks like, either like a road, or it looks like a river kind of just flowing very smoothly. And that does lean into some of the interpretation of populous as a sigil of adaptability, just as water and rivers do. They always flow through whatever comes their way. They always take the path of least resistance. So it's also a card or a sigil of passive energy as well, because of that association. And then it's also, because of the name populace, as you know, that means like population, groups of people. It's a card or a sigil of a lot of social energy too. Groups of people versus individuality. It's more about communal things rather than it's about we. So, interesting. Leaning into your tarot spread, because there's a lot of different ways that can go, because it's such a neutral type energy. I think even elementally, populace is neutral. It's not really associated with any specific element. You do have some reflection, especially towards the middle of the month with the Hermit reversed, because that is a card about coming out of our shell more. That is a card of, instead of being the hermit in the cave, gathering our wisdom and our knowledge about that we've gained individually from our own soul with our own light. It's about coming out of the cave and shining that light to others. As you can see when I turn it upright, he's holding a lantern. Like, here's the wisdom I have from my time of solitude. So I will say, especially because that's the middle card, pile 3, it's kind of a theme of the month, if you will. The theme of November for you is about coming out of your shell more. It's about shining more of who you are with groups of people, especially with that connection to populace, as we discussed with your Geomancy Sigil. But leaning into this timeline-wise, we do have the very beginning High Priestess. The High Priestess, as I said when it first came out, is a card about intuition. It's a card about mysteries, kind of leaning into sort of that more solitude energy of the Hermit if it were upright. So I do see the first week of November being a time of internal focus. We're not quite at that populous energy yet. It's a really good week to lean into your intuition more, especially if maybe you're trying to read people's energy or their intentions, or if you're trying to understand more about like how things will go. Trust your own intuition and have faith in your own intuition, especially in that first week, pile 3, because I think you might be coming across a crossroads. Or first month, did I say? I'm sorry, first week. If I said first month, I meant first week. Because you might be coming to a crossroads where your intuition is challenged, where maybe something isn't what it seems. And deep down inside, you're like in that first week, I don't know. You're like, maybe I should follow what my gut says. And the answer to that, pile 3, is yes, follow what your gut says in the first week especially. That can reflect maybe even some conflict with that populous energy. Maybe a group is telling you to think a certain thing in that first week, and you're like, I don't know, but my individuality, my own gut says no, or differently at least. Okay. And that leads you, I think, through the success that shows you. Like when you follow that gut intuition in that first week, and then it's revealed, well, yes, you were right to follow that intuition. Then we get into the energy of the Strength card into the second week of November. Another major arcana. And strength is all about kind of what it says on the tin, but it's especially inner strength is emphasized. It's about our willpower. It's about our confidence in our own capability. It's a very kind of fiery energy card. I don't know if technically the element with strength is fire, but I always see it as a fire card because it is a card of our willpower, just as the maiden tames the lion. Okay, she's not even actively holding its jaws open like in the traditional depiction, pile 3. She's literally just resting her hands on its mane. So very subtle feminine strength, okay? So that might, after that revelation that that you were right to follow your gut in the first week, you might be leading into that second week of, well, number one, greater confidence, because you're like, oh, okay, I was right to follow my own gut. But also, too, maybe a bit of leadership energy within a group, leading into that populist energy. Because they'll be like, oh, well, pile 3 was right. Oh, they were right about that. How did they know that? Okay, so don't be afraid to lean into leadership energy in that second week, pile 3. Don't be afraid to feel more confident. Let yourself feel more confident and let your own energy radiate out more in that second week too. And I say that because all these major arcanas in the very beginning of the month, as I mentioned before, are milestones. They're very pivotal moments in your life where it's going to be very, the events that happen in like the first week into the middle of November are going to be pivotal towards your confidence in your intuition and pivotal towards your confidence to not just within, but like that radiation outwards, as I was explaining. Then we have this switch around the middle of the month, pile 3, that hermit reversed energy. Now we have that group energy. It's not active energy necessarily. It's not, going out there and seeking groups necessarily. But it is an invitation to at least shine your light more outwards with the hermit reversed. Come out of the cave a little bit more. Don't be afraid to voice your opinion more in groups, especially towards the middle of the month and overall too, pile 3. Don't be afraid to let it be known the things that you learned from listening to your intuition in that first week. Maybe there's something that you have a really good gut feeling about and like you realize that you're right away. And then it maybe takes a while for that group that you're in that maybe is related to the thing that you realized to understand, oh, okay, well, pile 3 was right. Like they had a good gut intuition about this. So that week 3, that middle of the week middle of the month might be when that finally switches out, because like I said, it's the hermit coming out of the cave and saying, here's the light, here's the lantern, I shed light upon this thing that I learned, okay? So too, if maybe you're waiting to reveal something that pile 3, the very middle of November, second into the third week would be the perfect time to do that. And as I said, a pivotal moment in your life. Okay, some important things coming up here in the next 2 weeks. Then we have the 4th card and the 5th card, which are both pages reversed. We have the Page of Wands reversed, so fire energy, and the Page of Swords reversed, which is air energy. Towards the end of the month, pile 3, and as I talk, I'm going to draw your first oracle card. Excuse me. You might run into some bumps regarding how you want to explore both your ambitions or your avenues of willpower, and also, especially towards the very end, some issues regarding exploring how you want to think about something or how you want to gather information about something. So especially with fire and air energy together, both are masculine elements in tarot. I think it's going to be like a more of an outward struggle that you're dealing with. I don't see anything like major necessarily. It's not like a big problem. It's not like a Tower card came out, right, pile 3, but you're going to do a lot of thinking towards the end of the month. A lot of Pooh Bear sitting down and tapping his little yellow hand to his forehead and going, think, think, think. That's going to be you at the end of November. Trying to figure out something. I will draw some clarifier cards on that because I want to know more about like what that might be. But, yeah. Maybe it's kind of the aftermath, too, of this pivotal moment towards the beginning of the month. These major events occurring, and then this is the aftermath. Okay, the thing happened. Well, now what do I think about it? Okay, how do I go from here in terms of my ambitions and in terms of how I, mentally understand the situation? Okay, so a little bit maybe more passive energy towards the end of the month, too. And we do see that with the Geomancy Sigil of Populists. It's that passive energy of flowing. Okay, we're not so much leaning into that active energy. Ironically, though, because as I said, fire and air are the masculine elements in tarot. Release, letting go of something. Okay. So some of the revelation or the intuition that you share with others might be like telling them something about like, let's let go of something. Okay. Or a lot of that thinking towards the end of the month might be related to, should I let go of something? Okay. Maybe it's like letting go of an ambition of yours that isn't working out very well. or it could be also like letting go of an idea of yours that you feel is not working out very well, or maybe not even necessarily letting it go, pile number 3, but maybe letting it stew for a while rather than just going full speed ahead on it, because this page reverse energy at the end of the month is a lot of that contemplative energy. Okay, it's we're not ready yet to explore something. We're still thinking about it. We're still wondering. And 2, I didn't mention this before, pages can also represent not just exploring energy, pile 3, but also student energy. It's youthful energy. They're the youngest cards in the court suit in tarot. And so what that means, tangibly, pile number 3, is at the end of the month, you might also be maybe struggling to learn something. Okay. As I said, nothing major bad. It's not a tower moment, but you might have to do some more nose to the grindstone when it comes to learning things at the end of the month. Maybe there's like a new project coming up and you have like a lot of like new information you have to take in. So especially with the Page of Swords reverse, that's that new information energy of like, oh God, now I got to learn this thing. And then the Page of Wands reverse is like, oh, okay, there's this new ambition that just popped into my field of view. And then, very fittingly, the release card is, a fantastic card to get for November, right? Because November, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, is the time of release. It is the time of autumn, leaning into winter, letting go of things. So don't be afraid to let go of things, too, that are no longer serving you in November, pile 3. That's another theme popping forward. Now, let's grab your last oracle cards. We'll see if Spirit has any parting advice or heads ups for you. And I did promise some clarifiers on the pages, too. I did promise some cards on that. So I will also draw some more tarot cards for you with that. All right, Spirit, what else do you want to say to pile 3 for their November? Thank you. Okay, this one is prominent. We'll take it. We have balance. Okay, so maybe that explains that opposing feminine and masculine energy I was discussing before, because you have the populist card, or geomancy sigil, of passive energy and being like receptive to things. And especially towards the beginning of the month, you have a lot of that feminine energy of internal strength and leaning into your intuition. But then at the end of the month, you have more of that outward air and fire energy with the Wands and Swords pages. So it's kind of a month of where you go from strong feminine energy towards strong masculine energy, and kind of figuring that out after having been in a period of time where feminine energy has been king more so. Okay. So also focus on balance this month, pile 3. Where in your life this month can you bring more balance? Maybe that's even that revelation that you have with the what you feel with your intuition at the beginning of the month, pile 3. Maybe you realize, oh, something is kind of out of balance here. Maybe I should let other people know about it. And then that hermit energy of, okay, I thought about it, I come out of my cave, here's how we bring balance. And then the group is like more successful and balanced in that way. And very interestingly too, the populist card is the 2 straight lines together, which is, even just thinking about it from a psychological perspective, it's a symbol of parallelity. It's a symbol of balance because it's 2 straight lines next to each other. So we do see that reflected in your geomancy as well. Balance in all things. We'll grab your Lantern Oracle. This one felt prominent to me, so we'll take it. Ooh, we have number 15, Distorted Desire. Conscious desire rarely satisfies the unconscious need driving it. It's interesting, she's running away from a lantern on a path. Actually, she left the path. But she was running away from a lantern in the distance, a light. So I think that might be a little bit of advice, pile 3, that when you reveal this thing to other people that you've learned towards the middle of the month, there might be some reaction that is not necessarily positive. I don't want to say someone's going to get mad. I'm not saying that. But people might deny what you're trying to tell them at first, because this Distorted Desire card is all about sometimes like the actions we take that look like we desire one thing aren't necessarily what's really driving everything underneath the hood. Do you know what I mean, pile number 3? So like you might immediately say to someone, hey, I came to this realization, and I hope it's not tough to hear, or I hope it's not something that's disappointing, but I think we should do this, or I wanted to tell you this because I think it might help you. Like, say that's like the nature of the revelation, right? And they might have an immediate reaction that's kind of like, oh, I'm just going to kind of run away and deny it. I don't know. Because they might, on the surface, seem like, well, they're just running away from the truth. let's say. But what really might be driving things under the hood, to use the same phrase I used before, is not so much running away from truth, but running away from, say, pain. So really look deeply in the month of November into what people's actual intentions and actual desires are when it comes to how they react to truth. You know, like that lantern representing truth, like she's running away from it. How do people react to truth this month? And analyze that very deeply, okay? Because you might find greater answers than what just a surface glance would afford you. All right, and then let's grab the clarifiers as I promised on those 2 pages. Spirit, do you have anything else you want to say about that end of the month energy with the pages? The exploring and learning more, maybe having some difficulties in that area with masculine energy, with willpower and ambition, and maybe communication or facts, ideas. Right there. Thank you, Spirit. We have the 4 of Swords. It's a card of rest. And once again, we have a card that kind of speaks more to feminine energy right next to masculine energy with balance. Because the 4 of Swords is a receptivity card. Because it's the card of resting for a bit. Yes, so they're clarifying that at the end of the month, we'll have lots of active energy in the very beginning. But then we have this thing that kind of slows down a little bit. Like we have this whole big pivotal thing that occurs, and then it dies down to more of a think, to use the Pooh Bear example again, at the end of the month. It's more rest. It's more time for contemplation. And I think that's what you're really working through at the end of the month here, pile 3, is that contemplation of, well, how am I going to go forward with my ambitions after this revelation? How am I going to go forth with how I think about things or my ideas after this revelation? Okay, to maybe even the potential social aftermath with the Disordered Desire card. And as we said too, like populist meaning, there might be a lot of like social group type energy in this month too. So it might be a card or a time at the end of the month here of you reevaluating a lot of how you understand social groups that you're in terms of like what's really rumbling under the hood, using that phrase one more time. And then also, oh, excuse me, my voice got a bit scratchy there. Ooh, speaking of air energy, throat chakra, yeah. It can also be a piece of advice I'm hearing, pile 3. At the end of the month, don't rush to say things. And don't rush to announce your ambitions. Rest on things a little bit. Let things simmer, let things bake in the oven for a while. That's an intuitive thing that I'm hearing, especially with these 3 cards in tandem, the 2 pages and the 4 of Swords. All right. Reveal truth in the middle of the month, right? But at the end, back off a little bit. Let it simmer. Let things bake. Let things cook. Let the universe cook in the kitchen, as we should say. Yeah. And just a month of letting go of old things that no longer serve us, which is what autumn represents, right? Letting go of the old as the year dies to make room for new in the spring. A month of balance, a month of also great personal strength and leaning into your intuition more, especially towards the beginning as we discussed. And I think that was everything. Looks like everything to me. So, of course, most of all, pile number 3, I hope that reading helped you. That's what I care about most with my readings, that you walk away feeling helped. You have a tool in your toolbox to address the month of November as you go forward. But also that you liked it and it resonated. If so, here's my little YouTube spiel, as I always do. Please like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. I don't have to repeat it. And thank you so much if you choose to do any of those things, if not all 3. And as I always say in our tradition, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, pile number 3, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye.